أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي ليس لأوليته ابتداء ولا لأزليته انقضاء، وانحصرت الأوصاف عن كنه معرفته، وردعت عظمته العقول، والذي لا تواري عنه سماء سماء ولا أرض أرضا. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيد الأطلاع سيد المرسلين والأنبياء أبي القاسم محمد المصطفى.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى الجوهرة القدسية بتول العذراء سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء، وعلى بعلها أمير المؤمنين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
لا سيما على بقية الله وحجته الكبرى الذي بيمنه رزق الورى، وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء، ولولاه لصاحت الأرض بأهلها، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الإمام أبو عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام: إن رأس يحيى بن زكريا أهدي إلى بغي من بغايا بني إسرائيل صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
We have our honorable guest scholar present, mashallah, for his sihat and salamati and long life. Please recite salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The subject of my Majlis al-Azhar tonight is the resemblances that Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam has with Prophet Yahya ibn Zakaria alayhi salam. And I would like to talk about 6 resemblances tonight. And at the end, I would like to mention A'zamiyatul Masa'ib of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. That means the fact that the musibat and masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein are superior than the masa'ib of Prophet Yahya. So this hadith of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, which I recited in the beginning, this is narrated, and the Rawi and narrator is Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein Sajjad alayhi salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So our fourth Imam says that at every station, manzil, in old days when you were traveling in deserts, so they had stations where you used to stop because obviously it's tiring, long, and travel with almost no comfort. There were no restaurants, there were no hotels, so you have to get off somewhere several times during the long travels in the desert. Those places where the caravans were stopping is called manzil, the plural being manazil. So during the travel from Mecca to Iraq, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had several manazil,
And Imam Sajjad Islam says that every manzil and station, when his father was getting down, getting off, or starting to travel again towards the destination, each time he was saying this statement, Inna min hawa. Each time he was recalling Prophet Yahya alayhi salam. And Imam al-Hussein Islam said, Inna min hawani dunya. From the lowliness of this world, that means this is among those evidences of the lowliness of this dunya, that Inna Ra'sa Yahya ibn Zakariya uhdiya ila baghiyi min baghaya bani Israel, that the head of Yahya, son of Zakariya, was gifted to a bad character woman among the bad character women of Bani Israel. Every single time Imam Hussein got off on manzil, he took a break, and every time he departed that manzil, he said the statement. So this is a hadith that is Imam Hussein repeated multiple times. How much was the connection of Imam Hussein with Prophet Zakaria? Prophet Yahya alayhi salam, being born in the house of Prophet Zakaria, for in the love of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And the story goes that Prophet Zakaria he never had any child, any baby, and he fasted on the 1st of Muharram. We don't fast on the 10th of Muharram, which is bid'at of Banu Umayyah, but it is mustahab to fast on the 1st of Muharram. And he fasted on the 1st of Muharram, and at the time of iftar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him the basharat and glad tidings. Some narrations say Prophet Zakaria, when he discovered about Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he asked Allah to give me a son who should also be getting slaughtered as mazloom and oppressed, so that Prophet Zakaria can feel the pain of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What will happen to the Holy Prophet when his son is going to be slaughtered? I need to feel the pain.
This is the kind of love Prophet Zakaria had towards Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, towards Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And because of the dua of Prophet Zakaria, Allah gave him the son Yahya. So there is already a connection, right?
And now, the resemblance number one is that
both of the prophets received basharat and glad tidings from Allah. Prophet Zakaria at the time of iftar receives the basharat and glad tidings about the birth of Yahya. Inna nubashiru, Quran says, Inna nubashiruka bi ghulamin ismuhu Yahya lam naj'al lahu min qablu samiyya.
So we learn from these verses
that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have tafsir elaborating on the event, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the glad tidings to Prophet Zakaria at the time of iftar, after the iftar, when he cries over Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, Allah gives him the basharat and glad tidings about the birth of Yahya. So likewise, the resemblance with Imam al-Hussein. Allah sends the message through the angels to the Holy Prophet that, soon Fatima is going to give birth to a child. The basharat of Imam al-Hussein's arrival was given ahead of the time to the Holy Prophet. That's the resemblance number one. Resemblance number two is that these are the names that were given to these two personalities, Yahya and Hussein alayhim salam, unprecedented in the history. There was no human being ever named Yahya in the entire history, ahead of Prophet Yahya alayhi salam, and there was no human being named Hussein in the history of humanity, ahead of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So they were the first personalities giving those names in the history. That's the resemblance number 2. Resemblance number 3 is that both of these names were given by Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who named Prophet Yahya to be Yahya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named Imam Hussein to be Hussein. Hussein is the tasghir, how we call in Arabic grammar, sighatut tasghir. Sometimes when you love somebody, in order to tasghir, sigha is, this tense is used for multiple reasons in Arabic. One of those reasons is to show your love towards someone. So Hussein is the sighatut tasghir of Hassan. Hassan means good, and Hussein means also the person who is good. But you add into that the expression of love. So you are lovingly expressing that this person is good. That's the meaning of Hussein. Someone who is Hassan with the loving expression added to it. So Hussein alayhi salam, this name is also given by Allah. That's the third resemblance. And the fourth resemblance between Prophet Yahya and Imam Hussein alayhi salam is that both babies were born with 6 months of pregnancies. The only 2 individuals in the entire history who were born with 6 months of pregnancies. And that is something documented in the history and supported the phenomenon. It's supported by the verse of Holy Quran where Allah says, talking about breastfeeding of the child, وَحَمْلُهُ وَفِصَالُهُ, the pregnancy of a baby and the time. Fisal in Arabic means the time when you separate the baby from the woman. So now it's no longer allowed for the baby to be breastfed any longer. In Islam, it's haram to breastfeed the babies more than 2 years. Right? So 2 years is a deadline in our fiqh. You cannot breastfeed the baby more than 2 years. As soon as the baby gets 2 years old, according to the Islamic calendar, it's not allowed to breastfeed the baby. That's the time of fisal, separating the baby from the mother. So since the time the pregnancy starts, and since the time the fisal happens, it is 30 months duration. So, which means obviously 2 years is the time, maximum time for breastfeeding the baby, and that leaves only 6 months, because 30, how can you fulfill the 30 months? So 18 months are, 2 years are taken off, 24 months are taken away already, the remainder is only 6 months. So, which proves, our scholars say in tafsir, this ayat of Holy Quran proves that Islamically speaking, the pregnancy is possible. The minimum duration possible for the pregnancy is 6 months. And the examples of that 6-month pregnancy in a normal way, I'm not talking about abnormally induced pregnancies, in a normal way is Prophet Yahya and Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the history. So this is the 5th resemblance between these 2 great personalities. And the 6th resemblance between these 2 is that both of them were slaughtered as mazloom individuals and their heads were cut off. Yahya alayhi salam's head was also cut off, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam's head was also cut off. And the 7th resemblance is that the qatil and killers of both were waladuz zina. These resemblances that I'm talking about, I have written all the references I can provide if you want. These are all documented in our books of hadith. So the qatil and killer of both of them were waladuz zina. All the killers of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam were waladul haram, children of the bad character woman. That's also documented in the hadith of Sayyidah Zainab. salamullah alayha, when she comes at the janaza, at the dead body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam after his martyrdom, she says, as Sayyidah Zainab says in her hadith, talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this about Imam al-Hussein, that he is qatilu awladil bahaya. He's the one who is killed through the hands of the children of bad character women. This is what Sayyidah Zainab said. It's part of her hadith. So it's confirmed according to our value system taught by Ahlul Bayt, لا يقتل أولاد الأنبياء إلا أولاد الزنا. Children of prophets cannot be killed except by children of zina. This is confirmed in our belief system. It's a matter of our beliefs actually. So both of them their heads were cut off, which is resemblance number 7. And resemblance number 8 is that both of the heads of these two individuals, Prophet Yahya and Imam al-Hussein, both of their heads were presented as gifts to the Taghut rulers of their times. Resemblance number 7. So, and the 8th and the last resemblance I would like to mention is that both of their heads spoke after they were separated from their bodies. When the head of Prophet Yahya was separated, the head, and it was put in a tray and presented to the Taghut ruler of Bani Israel, the head spoke to the Taghut ruler saying that fear Allah. This is what head of Prophet Yahya said to the Taghut ruler. And Imam al-Hussein al-Islam's head spoke multiple times, our history says, reciting, the Holy Quran. أم حسبتم أن أصحاب الكهف أفحسبتم أن أصحاب الكهف واليقين أم حسبتم أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا. Reciting the verses of Holy Quran, speaking Imam al-Hussein's head. And now let's go to the second segment of my speech, which relates to the fact that Musibat and Masa'ib of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam is higher and greater than Prophet Yahya from multiple aspects. So many aspects, not just one. Now, first of all, both of them were slaughtered as in the state of sabr. The hadith says. Prophet Yahya was also slaughtered. Qutila sabran means you forcibly take somebody, don't allow him to defend himself. He has no more room remaining to defend himself, and you kill him in a way defenseless. This is called sabran. Nobody is allowed to support, to help, to defend him any longer. So, Qutila Abi Sabran, how Imam Sajjad also says in his hadith about Imam Hussein that يُؤْخَذُ شَيْءٌ مِنْ ذَوَاتِ الْأَرْوَاحِ, you capture somebody who's alive and in other words, you hit him so much that he gets killed. This is how they killed Imam Hussein alayhi. So they surround Imam Hussein from all the sides and they start to attack every possible way. Every possible way. Someone who has a sword is attacking with a sword. Someone who has a spear is attacking with a spear. Imam Hussein's body was full of holes, the hadith says. Full of holes all over. So no comparison. We're talking about the second segment of my speech, A'zamiyatul Masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein. His musibat being a'zam and greater than Prophet Yahya. Prophet Yahya's body was not harmed.
They cut off his neck, they put the neck and the head in the tasht, in the tray, and present it to the Taghut, and that's where it ended. That's where it ended. The adawat, the animosity, the hate is not visible in the history after they killed Prophet Yahya. We don't find any further hate towards him visible in any of their actions of those enemies and criminals. But that's not the case with Imam Hussein. You find the hate all over in every aspect. During the assassination of Imam Hussein and after the assassination of Imam Hussein. So he's killed sabran. So now somebody who didn't have anything, he's attacking with even rocks and stones thrown at him. Okay. So is asabahu hajaran ala jabhatihi. Sayyid Abbas says, a stone hit over the forehead of my Mawla. Blood came out of the forehead of the Lord. So he took his cloth. فَأَخَذَ الصَّوْبِ لِيَمْسَحَ الدَّمْ عَنْ جَبْهَتِهِ. He took the cloth to wipe the blood from his forehead. No complaint on the lisan, on the tongue of Imam Hussein. No complaint against Allah. So much rida and tasneem, submission to the will and mashiyyat of God. How can the humanity find an example like that? A person is being killed sabran, the way I just explained minutes ago, and he's still showing so much tasneem and submission towards Allah. Ridam bi qada'ihi wa tasleeman li amri. That means I am submitting to your, I am pleased with your, with your destiny, with your divine decision, and I am submitting to to his command. I am submitting to his divine decision. I am pleased with this divine decision, and I am submitting to his command. This is Imam Hussein. And now, at the time when he is subjected with all this attack, you find in the history that the last thing happening is that when he wipes the blood from the forehead, this is what Harmal La'natullahi alayh strikes the arrow, three-pointed arrow, on the qalb of Abi Abdullah Hussein. Three-pointed arrow over his qalb. And after that, my Mawla shows, look at the courage in Shujat. He takes the arrow out. It's so hard. When you already are injured, so many arrows have already struck the body of Imam Hussein. Some narration says, my Mawla had more than 100 injuries of sword only. And some narrations tell he had more than 100 injuries of spears only. We are not talking about the total injuries. The total, some scholars have said 1,110 injuries. Some have mentioned even more number, higher number about that. So many injuries. Can you find a person with that many injuries and showing so much submission and pleasure to the command of Allah? And then he takes out the arrow from his behind his فَأَخْرَجَ السَّهْمَ مِنْ وَرَاءِ ظَهْرِهِ, behind his back, and he said to Allah, you know they are killing the person who is the only son of the daughter of your prophet, in other words. That means I am the only son of Fatima surviving. He made Allah, he talked to Allah like that. So this is Imam Hussein. And then my Mawla could not survive over the back of the horse. Then there's a person who poked the spear into the body of Imam Hussein at that occasion. And that was the last strike on Imam Hussein over the back of Zuljana, the horse. My Mawla, Zuljana understands Mawla is so much injured, he cannot stay any further on the back. He cannot ride any further. He kneels down to facilitate Imam Hussein come down. So we are talking about Qutila Sabran. And this is where you find my Mawla's body is raised over the arrows. And Sayyidah Zainab is witnessing that situation. This never happened for Yahya alayhi salam. His head was taken and that's it. And some narrations say that one drop from the blood of Hazrat Yahya fell down on earth and the earth started boiling, Jushidan, boiling. And some of those criminals of Banu Israel who were standing by, they were taken care of, and they were killed by the boiling of the earth. And when it comes to Imam al-Hussein, there are so many different narrations. Some narrations say, my Mawla rubbed the blood over his own face. Rubbed the blood over his own face. Some narrations say he rubbed the blood of Ali Asghar over his own face. Some narrations say he was willing to throw the blood over the soil, but the earth spoke to Imam al-Hussein. There shall be no plantation growing. If this blood falls down on the earth, no plantation will grow any longer. My Mawla didn't throw the blood over the earth. Some narrations say my Mawla threw the blood towards the sama, towards the heaven, and none of the drops returned back. Obviously they are protected by Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, they are protected by Rasulullah, so none of those drops came back. Some narrations say my Mawla took the blood of Ali Asghar in his hand and rubbed over his own face. He's going to meet Ali Rasulullah with the blood of Ali Asghar on his face. So there's Azamiyatul Masa'ib. It's very obviously Imam al-Husayn's Masa'ib and Musibat is way higher than Yahya alayhi salam. This blood did not fell down. If that, in that sense, obviously a lot of blood fell down. But this is the sabr of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn. This is the sabr of Imam Sajjad. This is the sabr of Sayyidah Zainab. If you recall, when Sayyidah Zainab asked her dad to tell me, Haddasatni Ummu Ayman kada wa kada. Ummu Ayman told me such and such. She was talking about the story, what would happen with Sayyidah Zainab after the Martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein. How the Ahlul Haram will be captured and taken into the bazaar of Kufa and Sham and humiliated. So, but I would like to listen from you. Imam Ali said that al-hadithu kama haddasatki Ummu Ayman. The way Ummu Ayman said to you, that's the way the situation is going to be. In other words, innaki wa banat ahliki la sabaya bihadha al-balad. Mawla Amir Mumin prophesied and told Sayyidah Zainab, you and the daughters of your family are going to be captives in this city of Kufa. This is where Imam Ali is martyred, right? The city of where Imam Ali used to live in the final days. So you're going to be captives. And Imam Ali also at the end of that hadith gives advice to Sayyidah Zainab for sabran sabra. That means do sabr, do sabr. He's advising his daughter. Sayyidah Zainab did not curse these people. If they had cursed these people with all the blood of Imam al-Hussein that they have dropped and they have killed these innocent shuhada, none of those people could survive for the fraction of a second. She didn't curse because Imam Ali said sabran sabra. Because of the sabr of Sayyidah Zainab. It's the sabr of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam that the earth is surviving and those people were surviving. So, Adamiyatul Masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein, when they cut off the head of Imam al-Hussein, so the head of Yahya was just presented to the Taghut ruler. He did not insult any further towards the head. But when you find head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein was cut off, and then it was carried alongside with these ladies and the daughters of Imam al-Hussein. How hard is this for the daughter to see the head of her father in the hands of the killers? How hard is that for the daughter, for Sakina bint al-Hussein, for Fatima bint al-Hussein to see the head of the killers, the head of Imam Hussein carried by the killers, and throughout the travel they were seeing. And so you find there was no further insult done towards Yahya, but Imam al-Hussein's head was raised over the spear. Some narrations say was also hung over the tree for a while. Some narrations say it was presented to Ibn Ziyad and Yazid and they insulted Imam al-Hussein. And Rasulullah has sent his la'nat, his curse on those people who would see the cut off head of Hussein and would feel happy over that Prophet had specifically cursed those people. So Ibn Ziyad and Yazid have been specifically cursed by Rasulullah because both of them became happy after seeing the head of Imam al-Hussein. Not just that, Adamiyatul Masa'ib, my Bala's head, when it was brought in front of Yazid, Yazid started to insult that head, putting his stick over the lips of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And there was a Sahabi and companion of the Prophet present in the Darbar and court of Yazid who objects over Yazid. He builds the courage to object over Yazid. I saw myself with my eyes Rasulullah, when Imam Hussein was a baby, Rasulullah was kissing over the face of Imam Hussein. The lips of Imam Hussein were kissed when Imam Hussein was a baby by Rasulullah. So he stops Yazid the Tawhud to insult Imam Hussein in that way. And Ahlul Bayt were witnessing that. And then you find there is no shamatat of the A'da narrated in the history about the killing of Yahya. No shamatat. The taunting and sarcastic words and sentences used by the enemies. You don't find that about Yahya alayhi salam after him getting killed. But when it comes to Imam al-Hussein, you find so many things happening. So this is even harder. When you see the enemy, when Yazid sees the head of Imam al-Hussein, he smiled over that. How hard of the musibat is that for Ahlul Bayt? Maybe this musibat is one of the Azam al-Masa'ib for Ahlul Bayt to see Yazid smiling over the head of Imam al-Hussein. And you find that Imam al-Hussein, this body has been subjected to so much zulm after the killing. You never find that Yahya's body was subjected to zulm after he was killed. You find Imam al-Hussein's body is so much subjected when they reach the place called Darul Ajuza, the house of the elderly woman. That's how it is called in the history. And an elderly woman came out and she saw this caravan moving towards Sham, and she found the head of Imam al-Hussein. This Mal'una, cursed woman, what she did, she took a rock, a stone, and she scratches the face of Abi Abdullah Hussein in front of Sayyidah Zainab. And Sayyidah Zainab, when she saw that, Sayyidah Zainab, at that occasion, she cursed that woman. And she says, Allahumma, she asked, who is she? And she was told, this is such and such woman. Sayyidah Zainab cursed that woman by saying, Allahumma ahriq alayha qasraha binar al-dunya qabla nar al-akhirah. That's Mazmoon al-Riwayah. Oh my Lord, burn down her palace with the fire of dunya before the fire of akhirat. And the fire came and burned down the entire palace of that evil woman. So look at the shamatat, look at the pain that Sayyidah Zainab is going through, Imam Sajjad is going through, even after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. You find that rahib, that Christian monk showing up from the church as they were passing by towards Sham. And this Christian monk comes and he inquires from those people, whose head is that? And they told him, this is the head of the son of the daughter of our Prophet, who rebelled against the Khalifa, our Khalifa Yazid, and thus we killed him. And this Christian monk asked them to lend the head to them for a night, overnightly. And they said it's going to be 10,000 dirhams. He said, that's not a problem. I'm going to pay you 10,000. He paid them 10,000 dirhams and borrowed the head from them for one night. He takes the head into his place and he starts talking to Abi Abdullah Hussein. He says to Abi Abdullah Hussein, I accept your religion in your presence. He saw the dream last night, Rasulullah in his dream. And he got the glad tidings, basharat about entering the paradise. He said to the head of Imam Hussein that I accept your religion. He becomes a Muslim in the presence. and there, and then he respects that hand, and he shows so much love and respect and affection towards Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein is a witness according to that narration. As per that narration, my Mawla Imam al-Hussein is a witness about that rahib, that Christian monk converting to the religion of Imam al-Hussein. Look at that, and then he brings the head back to them. Look at that this head has been guiding, providing the nur and nuraniyat to those people who deserve. And not just that, so many masaib that Imam al-Hussein is encountering. Now they started to steal the ring of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein from his hand after the death. And they started to steal the belt, Azar Band of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein after his death. And as my Mawla was holding that belt, they cut off the hand of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. This much zulm has been done. Not only that, now they wanted to crush the ribs of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein after his martyrdom. The ribs have been crushed. So this is where the horses were prepared, and they started to run over the janazah of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. This is how much they did the pain, caused the pain for Ahlul Bayt. And then Yahya ibn Zakaria, when he, Azamiyatul Masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein, when Yahya was killed, he had no wife, he had no children. So this makes a huge difference. When Abi Abdullah al-Hussein was slaughtered, he had his wife, he has his children, he has his sister, he has his family remaining. And this is where my Mawla did al-Wida, the farewell, which is such a hard situation for you to depart finally from your family. When he was leaving, Sayyidah Zainab said, Mahalan ya akhi, hatta atazawwad minka. Sayyidah Zainab stops Imam al-Hussein, so that I can further see you. Sayyidah Zainab wants to finally further see Imam al-Hussein. So much love she had towards Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein is the markaz of Noor. He's the source of Noor on earth, in the heavens, in the world. So Sayyidah Zainab stops Imam al-Hussein. Sayyidah Zainab started to kiss the neck of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And Imam al-Hussein also kisses the hands of Sayyidah Zainab. He asked Sayyidah Zainab to give that Sawbun Atiq, itini bi Sawbin Atiq. Aj'alhu tahta thiyabi. So Imam Hussein can wear it under his clothes. لِأَلَّا أُجَرَّدَ بَعْدَ قَتْلِي. So my body doesn't get bare after getting killed. That's the shirt that was given to Sayyidah Zainab by Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam. And that's the shirt of Prophet Yusuf. That's the shirt of Prophet Yaqub. That's the shirt of Prophet Ibrahim. One of those tabarukat, which was worn by Imam al-Hussein on Ashura. And after Imam al-Hussein says his final farewell salam to his family members. He's departing his family members. This is where Imam al-Hussein, when he moves away from the khayma, from the tent, he hears a voice coming from behind. As he turns to see, it is his daughter Sakina coming after him. Daughter Sakina, how much Imam al-Hussein, it was hard for him to leave Sayyidah Zainab, to leave the rest of the Ahlul Haram, to leave Rubab and other members of the sacred family. But none of those would be possibly harder for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein than departing from Sakina. When Sakina is walking behind, my Mawla comes back to Sakina and makes Sakina sit in her lap. And Sakina says to her father, rub your hand over my head, the way you rubbed over the yatima of Hadrat Muslim. I know you're not going to return back. Look at my Mawla, there's a statement that my Mawla said to Sakina at that time, and I want to tell you that statement, which I'm paraphrasing. My Mawla says to Sakina, don't burn my heart with your tears. How much painful it was for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein to see the tears of her daughter. You can cry as much as you want after me. This This is what my Mawla says to his daughter. So finally, my Mawla has departed, and then this head was taken from Karbala towards Kufa. A time arrives when the head, which is taken over the spear, goes into the surface of the land, on the earth, and that's where it doesn't move forward. Shimr al-La'in comes, and he started to slash Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, started slashing him. I'm going to continue slashing you until the head of your father moves forward. Do you find that happening for Prophet Yahya? No way. No way. Adamiyatul Masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein. Prophet Yahya, when he was slaughtered, he was not hungry and thirsty for 3 days. His family was never killed. This is where Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam saw his entire family, almost the entire family getting killed in front of him. How much pain Imam al-Hussein goes through. And Imam Sajjad, his pain and suffering doesn't stop after his martyrdom. Whereas the pain and suffering of Yahya stops. Because these situations towards his family did not happen. So Imam Sajjad was now being slashed by Shimr, and my Mawla talks to his father, to the head of his father, and this head over the spear speaks to Imam Sajjad about the daughter Sakina falling down. Sakina must be riding over some animal, and these people, criminals, don't care. She must have fallen down. And somewhere in the desert during the travel. Now my Mawla asked whom to have. Sayyidah Zainab is being asked. I don't know how my lady gets off from the back of the camel. I don't know, because all of those ladies in the history, they were tied up with the chains. I don't know how she got off the back of the camel, whether she fell down over her face, or how did she come down. But now Sayyidah Zainab is going towards the desert, and she's searching for Sakina. She's trying to find out where Sakina is there in the desert. And then she discovers that during that travel, during the search, that there is a lady with niqab, and she's there in the desert. She's having Sakina in her lap and showing so much love towards Sakina. For sure, Sayyidah Zainab never saw anybody during the travel from Karbala to Kufa and Sham. She never saw anybody showing that sort of love towards Sakina. And she moves forward, and she asks that lady, who are you? She's showing so much love towards Sakina bint Hussain. This is where Sayyidah Zahra moves the niqab from her face in front of her daughter Zainab. Why would Fatima alayhi salam not show the love towards the yatima of Hussein? How much pain does Imam al-Hussein goes through? Obviously, my Mawla Imam Sajjad, whose martyrdom we are commemorating tonight, he's the one who wept for 35 years, or 40 years, according to certain narrations. And you find when Sahel as-Sa'idi, he says that I entered into Dimashq, I saw they were decorating the city. I asked them, this is not an Eid occasion in Islamic calendar. Why have you people decorating the city? They said there was a person who rebelled against Khalifa Yazid. And today his family is brought as captives, about to enter into the city of Damascus. That's the reason we have decorated. As I was talking to him, I discovered there's a caravan, such a strange caravan about to enter. And I looked towards the caravan. Obviously, Sahel as-Sa'idi failed to recognize Imam Sajjad, who is walking in front of the caravan. He moves towards the caravan. He says there's a weak man walking in front of the rest of the caravan. And there are certain heads over the spear, carried on top of the spear. And there were certain ladies without the hijab. And then he goes to that weak man and said to him, who are you? Imam Sajjad said that, Sahel, you did not recognize us? He said, I was so embarrassed. This person is calling me by my name, and I failed to recognize him. And he says to Imam Sajjad, he still did not recognize it's Imam Sajjad. He said to Imam Sajjad, would you introduce yourself? My Mawla, that's where my Mawla said, Anabnu Makkata wal Mina. I am the son of Makkah and Mina. Anabnu Zamzama was Safa. أنا ابن محمد المصطفى أنا ابن علي المرتضى أنا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. My Mawla, he makes such a great introduction. Sahel makes himself drop on the feet of Imam Sajjad. Mawla, how come this happened to you, Ahlul Bayt? He started to cry. Obviously, he's a lover. He would cry. And he says to my Mawla, is there anything I can do for you? My Mawla asked him to ask those people to take the caravan from a route where there are less people standing. How much painful it was for Imam Sajjad to see Sayyidah Zainab and Umm Kulthum and other ladies taken in front of the bazaar. But those people did not listen to Sa'ad al-Sa'idi. They instead took the caravan from the same route where most of the people were standing. And Imam Sajjad also asked Sahel if you can arrange for some cloth. Sahel says, I took my imama off, I folded it and I presented towards the Imam. My Mawla said to me, whom are you giving to? Somebody whose hand is tied up? Obviously my Imam's hands are tied up already, he cannot hold the cloth. He says, Mawla, let me know what am I supposed to do? Imam Sajjad says to him, lift the steel collar and place the cloth under the steel collar. These enemies had placed the steel collar with spikes that have been poking into the skin of Imam Sajjad throughout the travel. Then Sahel says, I lifted the steel collar, I put the cloth under the spikes, and I witnessed the whole back of my Mawla was full of the blood that was coming out of those injuries. على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. إلهي بحق الزهراء وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفار والمنافقين. اللهم انصر من نصر الدين واخذل من خذل المسلمين. اللهم انصر واحفظ وأيد علماءنا الربانيين ومراجعنا الربانيين لا سيما الولي الفقيه قائد المسلمين. اللهم انصر جيوش المسلمين وعساكر الموحدين. اللهم فك عن الأسراء المسلمين. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى وعجل في فرج مولانا صاحب الزمان واجعلنا من أنصاره وأشياعه وأتباعه وأعوانه بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. Let's read the Ayat al-Karima. Some of the mu'mineen in our community are sick in the hospital and severely sick. They have specially requested for dua, and for all the mu'mineen and mustadafeen and mahrumeen and mazlumeen, especially Sheikh Saksaki, his honorable wife, all the mu'mineen in the prisons of Nigeria, all those mu'minat who are tortured in the prisons of Bahrain, all those mu'mineen who are there, all those mu'mineen who are in the prisons of Hijaz, in the prisons of Pakistan, all those innocent people in Kashmir, in Yemen, and elsewhere who are in the jails of Dhulm for their freedom, and for all those people who have hajat, especially those who are sitting in this Majlis al-Azhar and they have their hajat and shari'iyya, for their hajat and shari'iyya, for the shifa of the cured people. For all of them, let's recite the ayat all together. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Amma yujibul muftarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amma yujibul muftarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amma yujibul muftarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب
يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء
يا حسين
يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين